Just received a package from Amazon in their new cardboard shipping bag. Anyway, let's get this thing open. Yep, it's another watch. Let's get started. If you've watched my channel before, you know how much I love Casio. I recently purchased a ProTrek. This is a PRW 3510. It's a premium outdoor adventure watch, but it's a lot of watch. And I still love Casio for some of their simpler value watches. And I think that's what I've got here. The box is in pretty decent shape considering it was shipped to me in a paper bag. Here's a quick look at the barcode. This is module 3426. Let's unbox this, slip off the outer sleeve, and pop open our watch. And a familiar sight, there is a Casio plastic wrapped sitting on top of a display stand. We have a retail looking card that gives you some of the features of this unit. Slide it out of here. And pretty good packaging for an inexpensive, affordable watch. Let's get our plastic off and get a closer look. And there is our AE1300 series illuminator. We see the green flag promoting the 10-year battery, a big feature here. At this price point, we're not going to get tough solar, but a 10-year battery is not bad. And what a good looking watch. Let's get this plastic off. And this is a black acrylic with silver accents around the bezel. And I love that two-tone quality. And a well-packaged, great looking first impression here. And let's get the manual out and take a quick look. Again, this is module 3426. And I'm a big fan of Casio user's guides. They're awesome. They're always well written, easy to read. And if you're somebody like me that doesn't like to read the instructions, you will find the Casio user's guide refreshing because it is well laid out always. Additional paperwork in here, you do have a standard Casio 1-year warranty. Never had to use one of the Casio warranties, but it's good to know it's there if you need it. And that's everything that's in the box. Very cool first impression and presentation. But now for the important part, let's get a closer look at the watch. And let's go ahead and get the watch off of the stand. And I love that two-tone look there. Gives it a very classy appeal, very modern looking. It looks a lot more expensive than it is, folks. Your illuminator badging as well as the 10-year battery decal. You get your extruded bezel there. You do have the crystal as a plastic lens. It looks like it's pretty exposed. But this isn't really an action adventure watch. This is more of a office, school, work. Great casual everyday watch. Very lightweight. Roughly maybe 1.5 ounces. We'll put it on the scale in a minute to get an official weigh in. The urethane strap, we've got the plastic buckle. It is branded with the Casio logo. Again, keeping this thing lightweight. Your typical urethane strap there. Looks like we got a little bit of a blemish on the case back. It definitely looks like a factory smudge. Nothing too serious. Put a little microfiber on it and maybe some cleaning solution a little later. We'll get it buffed out. But this is a stainless steel case back. It is stamped, and we'll try to get this in focus. There we are. We've got the Casio stamp on there. It is all stainless steel, made in China. 4 stainless steel screws hold the case back together. Hopefully you'll only have to open this up every 10 years or so to change that battery. Overall, I'd say the fit and finish of this watch is very good. I mean, at the price point, $24.95, it's hard to complain about much. Man, at that price, I think I want to buy a couple of them. There's different colorways available, I believe. You can get it in all black, and maybe I've seen blue out there as well, but really love the way this silver and black two-tone looks. And just overall, this is such a classic Casio watch. It's lightweight, it's simple, it's affordable. I don't see how you can go wrong with this one. Just a little rubbing alcohol and a microfiber. This one's from Casio, and you get these when you buy glasses at their optical center. Love these. Anyway, our caseback blemish is gone, and it looks great. All right, real quick, I want to confirm the specs on my scale. Looks like I'm just under 1.4 ounces. And let's toggle over to grams. And at 40 grams. So extremely lightweight. Let me get some quick dimensions here. Lug to lug, north to south, we're at 46 millimeters. Thickness is 13 millimeters. So it's going to ride nicely on the wrist. And let's see if I can grab a left to right, we're at 40 millimeters. The buttons do protrude out a little bit, so if we capture those, we're about 44.5 millimeters. So very reasonable measurements on this watch. Should be able to fit a lot of different size wrists. Jumping onto Casio's website, what drew me to this watch was the classic look, but also other key features are there's a referee timer. There's basically a dual timing system where you can time an event within an event. Several countdown timers, but of course, my favorite feature of this one is the 10-year battery life and 100-meter water resistance. One thing I wanted to point out that wasn't noted on the website was world time. This watch has 48 cities pre-programmed in and 29 time zones. All right, do not adjust your screen. I've got the lights off in the studio. Trying to show you the illuminator hard at work here. And let's see if we can get the camera to focus on it. One thing that this watch does not do, like most Casios do, it does not allow you to extend the duration of the light. You can usually toggle between 1.5 to 3 seconds. This one, I haven't found an adjustment where you can extend it, so you're just sort of pushing the light and taking a quick peek at the time while you can. Aside from the light not being my favorite feature, also this acrylic plastic crystal, you can see how it sort of lights up because it's sort of raised out. Kind of gives it sort of a cheaper look, but again, at this price point, hard to be too critical. Let's take a quick look at how to just set the time on this one. If you hold down your adjust button, which is your A button, for a few seconds, puts you into adjust mode. You can scroll with your C button, which is the lower left button, to turn daylight savings time on and off. Here's your world time. And you can scroll east and west. We need to head east to my time zone. And we're going to fast forward through this segment. This is pretty self-explanatory how you program. Once you're in adjust mode, you sort of just scroll through with the C button to program in your year, your date, your time. Pretty simple stuff. Let me go ahead and just scroll through and show you just some of the different modes. The big feature on this one is you have a dual stopwatch. It's a referee stopwatch. We'll talk about that in a second. You've got your preset timer. You've got interval timing, up to 9 different intervals that you can manually select the prescribed countdown timer. World time mode. And you can't go, I've noticed you can't go west, you can only go east in world time mode. So I usually like to set it to London to give me a perspective. And then your alarm. And you can set that any way you want. And now we're back in timekeeping mode. So very simple modes. The timer is a little tricky. I'm not a referee, and I'm not going to be doing different timing inside of events. But if you want to, you can see we're in time mode at the bottom. But if you hold down your adjust button, you can prescribe the total game timer of the event, how long the event will be, 1 to 60 minutes. And or you don't have to have any kind of prescribed event time, and you simply would just hit the start button in the lower right corner, and that starts your main timer. The big dial at the bottom is doing our total event duration time. You can see up top you have a second timer, and if we hit the start stop button again, it stops the time up top. So the event within the event, the main event is still going. You can resume your top timer and start and stop within the event. So basically you're timing two things at once, which is interesting and very necessary for games and other events. So starting and stopping, resuming the time within the time. You can stop the overall timer by just holding down the adjust button, and that sort of resets the stopwatch. Something I'm not going to be using a lot of, but it's pretty cool that it's there. All right, in standard timer mode, you have different prescribed countdown timers that are already preset. You can go to the next mode, which is an interval timer, and that has 9 different intervals that you can set countdown timers for at a manual time. You can insert different times for each interval. You can make it just count down, or you can hold your adjust button and make it auto repeat. So a specific timer will count down and then start another countdown, and it will keep track of how many countdowns. That bottom right hand corner, you've got the 1 there, how many countdowns timers you have repeated. So a lot of deep diving here you can do with these stopwatch and the timers. Here's world time mode, and then we're at alarm mode, pretty conventional, 1 alarm, and then back at our timekeeping mode. Pretty simple, but again, the timers and stopwatch are probably not something I'm going to use, but may be useful to you. One more thing I wanted to point out, you see that little musical note with a line through it? Right now I've got the keys muted, so when we push down the buttons, they're not making any noise. If you hold down the C button or the lower left-hand corner button for a couple seconds, you'll see that little note go away. Now we're out of mute mode, and the buttons will signal every time you push them. You can hold that and toggle that on and off and mute the keys whenever you need. Hope that helps. Let's do some quick comparisons here. Let's bring in another awesome classic. This is the Casio AE1300 series, also known as the Casio Royale, which is sort of likened to a watch that was in a James Bond movie years ago. And it's got awesome details. It's got the world time. It is a 10-year battery as well. It's an Illuminator series. Specs are virtually identical as far as the size, the proportions, the case, the construction. Both the straps are identical, same length, same buckle. Both watches are made in China. Case thickness is identical. Both are at 13 millimeter. Even though with that silver, the silver just gives it sort of a bigger look to me. Another comparison, one of my favorite watches ever is my SKX 007 J1 from Seiko. Classic watch. Hopefully just give you a little bit of size perspective. And you can see this Casio's holding its own. A lot of nice character with both of these watches. And last but not least, let's compare it to the ProTrek PRW3510. One of my favorite watches lately. I reviewed it recently and am loving it so much. I could never only have one watch, but if I only had one watch, this would be on the short list of ones to consider. This ProTrek is just outstanding. But it definitely feels a lot heavier than this awesome Illuminator. There's no way I can only have one watch, but the Illuminator's sitting pretty right next to this ProTrek. They both have their place. And how could I not bring in my G-Shock? This is the awesome GW6900. One of my favorite ever watches. There's so many good watches out there. But in my opinion, this little Illuminator is holding its own against these amazing, legendary watches that I love so much. Looks great. And finally, let's get this thing on the wrist. And I have smaller wrists. Mine are small to medium, 6 7/8 inch wrists. So I'm on about the third hole from the end, and it's pretty snug on me right now, but it's so light and comfortable. Fits great. It rides nicely. Very easy to read the time. Yeah, loving it. Controls are easy to deploy. Nice low profile, but very handsome looking. This watch is definitely going to be sticking around in my collection. I'll put a link below to where you can purchase one of these. If you do check one out, give me your thoughts, or if you already own one, welcome your comments as usual. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video, and I really appreciate your support. And it's always fun to talk about watches. I know these videos run long, but there's so much to talk about, and it's hard to make these short, so I'll keep working on that. Until next time, thanks for watching. See you later.